epic movie protagonists work. We're supposed to be able to see ourselves as them. Because we can't be Batman.
Yeah, it was nice. And everyone else was likable. Wildstyle was likable.
Even when I first saw Princess
Batman, of course, was awesome.
When I saw Princess Unicorn, I'm going to hate this character. But she actually turned out to be pretty funny.
She was funny. Well, that's because she had this, crazy...
Yeah, she'd
maniacal side.
When she'd be really, really happy, all of a sudden she'd have, a devil face.
Yeah. She was manically happy.
Yeah.
And then she went crazy there at the end.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
More
on that later.
Yeah.
It was
very creative.
Even Morgan Freeman. I mean, it was definitely Morgan Freeman, but it was, even though the trailers portrayed him as this all-seeing guy, he was actually pretty funny, and his character was fairly down to earth. He was fun. Who were the other? That might have been all of the main cast. Yeah. Oh, 80s space guy. He kind of joined a little later, but he was pretty good.
There was a pirate guy.
Metalbeard.
Metalbeard, the pirate who's
I wish I could make Legos like him. That was the coolest.
The first time he decided to assault the giant building, he lost everything but his head and organs. So
he made a point of saying organs.
So he made a body out of what he calls junk, which is basically this giant robot body with guns for hands.
With cannons for hands and a shark on his wrist.
Yeah. So he's Metalbeard.
Yeah. There was a brief, because he was on, there was the brief cameo by Lego Star Wars.
Lego Star Wars. Yeah, I looked at Batman, who's on the double-decker tower. It says there's gonna be a giant ship that... Oh my god! Metalbeard rose up. It's not like a spaceship is just gonna come through.
Because they needed a hyperdrive. Lego Lando Calrissian was pretty hilarious. I don't think it really was Billy D. Williams, but they captured it nicely.
Yeah, they steal Star Wars Lego's hyperdrive from their spaceship, which gets them killed.
Yeah, there's a little joke about that a little later.
For their spaceship, because their plan is to build a ship just like
the Octan delivery ships. Because no one would ever suspect that. They expect them to come in a bat spaceship or a pink sparkle spaceship.
They expect craziness and creativity and chaos. They don't expect.
So basically, they're on the lookout for it at all times. They won't expect them to come in as something that was built by the instructions.
Right. Exactly.
Because that was the thing too. Even stuff that actually there are Lego versions of. Batman's Batmobile is not the one you get when you follow the instructions. It was a little bit more customized.
Yeah. Yeah. No. That was the thing. They needed to follow the instructions to...
The idea was just horrifying to them.
And the eventual conclusion was that Viserys, or whatever his name was, made up the whole legend.
Right.
Which I guess we are kind of getting into spoiler territory now. So spoilers!
Yeah.
There is no such thing as a special.
And yet there is.
The moral is that anyone's special if they believe they can be special. Anyone has that ability in them. So.
Yeah, you can be special, but you have to earn it.
So I guess we can talk about the twist in the movie now.
Yeah.
This movie does have a twist, and it's
the one you wouldn't expect, yet you should expect.
I kind of suspected fairly early on in the film that it was kind of like it, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, because there were a couple of things I wasn't sure if they were actually going to go that route, or if it was sort of a nod, these are Legos.
Right.
Because President Business has this museum of found objects
that are all from our world, and they give them fun names like the remover of the Polish remover of nail polish remover.
Yeah. He has a giant Band-Aid.
The blade of Exact Zero. It was the belt of Ben Aid.
Yeah.
I hear it's incredibly painful to remove. So it's all like objects from our world.
And there is a scene when they go into Emmett's mind where
They see that
discover that he's seen
the man upstairs.
The man upstairs, yeah, which he
saw a giant hand.
So the twist in this movie is when Emmett decides to basically sacrifice his life by getting rid of the battery that's going to destroy everyone, and he jumps into what President Business calls like
it was something about the portal of like oblivion or something.
Yeah, it's just like nothingness outside of his.
That was one of the things that worked really well too, because as he's going through this like trippy 2001 Space Odyssey portal, the entire thing is rendered as Legos, which was really cool.
Yeah, no, that was really impressive.
Yeah.
When he does that, he winds up
on the floor in a
yeah.
basement.
In a basement, and we get live action characters, which you find out that the entirety of the movie and the story is basically
this kid
who wants to play with his dad's toys. And his dad and Taco Tuesday and the Craggle.
Yeah, the
is
Craggle.
Basically his father deciding to super glue, because it's crazy glue. Craggle. All of the pieces into one place, and the dad is played by Will Ferrell.
Yeah, it's essentially like the kid wants to build whatever he can think of, and the dad's like, no, you gotta follow the instructions, you gotta have this perfect Lego town. And there's even like, he's like, son, this isn't a toy. And it's like, well, it kind of is. We got him at the toy store.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that worked so well, because that could have easily fallen flat, is it was still really funny.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but this one says that it's ages 8 to 14.
That's a suggestion. They have to put that on there.
They have to put that on there. Yeah. And Will Ferrell was, of course, really good.
He was. It wasn't as goofy as some of his roles, but it was more like one of his more...
He plays straight man really
They just don't give him enough straight man roles, but he's very good at it.
He does it really, like...
he's more talented than a lot of people.
Straight Outta Fiction is one of my favorite movies.
She got me to watch it. I hated Will Ferrell until I saw that movie.
And he plays the straight man really, really well. He's actually, I think he's a lot funnier in some cases as the straight man.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
But yeah, that's kind of what he does here. So the whole thing is attributed to his kid just wants to build whatever and wants to play with the toys, and his dad doesn't want him to touch him. He doesn't think he's sort of like, why is Batman on this?
Yeah.
This,
well,
this
and as the kid is confronting his dad about that, it's also playing out in the story of what was Emmett. Emmett confronting Lord Business.
Because Lord Business is basically, I mean, he has Will Ferrell's voice.
It's supposed to be his dad.
His son made
Lord
his
Business.
dad, Lord Business, who's the bad guy. And when you see Will Ferrell sort of looking at all these things that his son built, is sort of like, you built this? His kid's name's Finn.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, and he's like, but Lord Business is gonna destroy everything with the Craggle. And he's like, well, what's the Craggle? And he's like, it's in there. And when he pulls out the little figure of himself, and the scene is actually really effective and kind of.
It is. I mean, it's really. I teared up a little.
Yeah.
It was way more emotional.
I got pretty choked up in that scene.
Yeah,
it was actually fairly effective.
There was a really great joke too about he's like, who removed the top of the building? It was an accident. You accidentally, immaculately, and carefully removed the top of my building.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, it went really well. Like it really tied that movie together.
Well, and especially like early on, they talk about like all the worlds were divided. Used to be all the worlds could interact and build, but Lord Business built the walls, and it's actually the divisions the dad has set up in his various Lego displays.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it all.
So all the weird sciencey backstory actually makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
As what the idea a kid would come up with to explain this.
Yeah. The floating titles and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, it winds up tying together really well. It actually winds up being a very good story. Fairly effective.
And then we actually find out that the whole thing about Taco Tuesday, which seemed out of nowhere, is because it's Tuesday And that's what Mom is making.
Yeah,
It's like, it's your
Taco
favorite,
Tuesday.
guys, Taco Tuesday. It's like, that seemed a bit strange, but it's like, oh, okay.
The world is ending on Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was great. Like,
Yeah.
That was an excellent little twist that wound up adding to the film quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And that last part was like, well, you know what? If you're gonna start to be able to play down here, you know what that means. What? It means your sister is gonna be able to play down here too.
And we get like a little thing of like the weird things like a really little kid would build. Which I hate to say it, as long as I played with Legos, I was not at Lord Business level or even at the kids level. I was the little sister's level of Lego building.
Yeah, these weird, inexpertly made things that come in this sparkly ship that are like, we are going to destroy you.
You're like, oh.
It's great. It's totally worth going to.
I haven't gone to a movie that like wasn't a Disney one that you like Pixar that you just kind of knew was probably going to be good and walked away as pleased with the result in a long time.
Yeah, it was terrific.
Like it might, as far as animated films go in the theater that were like kind of from some not Disney essentially, I probably haven't been that impressed since I saw Prince of Egypt.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd go that far just because I
Well,
like a lot of animation and I've seen a lot of animation.
I just
But
mean
it's
in the.
definitely-
I haven't seen as much in the theater as you.
Right. It's definitely already a contender for best animated film of the year.
Oh, it was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really
Like
good.
I expected it to be good, and then I was almost worried after it started getting really good reviews. Like, because then it started to like build up in my mind. Like, how can it ever like meet this hype that's supposed to surround it?
I'll admit I sort of got that too. Although it also made me very, very curious about it because it was sort of like
Right.
I'm sure this will be
Well, I was expecting a bunch of like kind of words and puns, like, and some of the ones I watched, like the Marvel Heroes one, the villain Loki calls Iron Fist Palmogranate, and it's just like dumb jokes like that. But these
Yeah.
ones were actually very well written. It wasn't just goofy. It actually
there weren't puns
no, there really weren't.
except for the bat pun.
Yeah.
Which was pointed out.
Oh yeah.
Let's wing it. It's a bat pun.
It's like just like we'll wing it. You just go like what? Like, that was a bat pun.
That man was awesome. He's the hero you deserve.
The
There
thing,
were pop culture references, but they were good ones.
well, yeah, because there was also pop culture stuff like.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have it. I don't think you
The
can
80s
pop
guy
culture.
finally getting to build his
Oh my god,
spaceship.
that was so hilarious. He
Spaceship!
just over and over again while he's like
As
taking
this,
out
like-
the enemy ships.
As this giant like escape the building scene, very very similar to like a Star Wars escape from the exploding Death Star 2 scene. It's just him screaming spaceship.
You're not as familiar with Portal 2 as I am. There's
No.
like this personality cube that's like obsessed with space, and at the end of the game he gets to go into space. He's just like space.
Oh, I mean that was more important, but I just mean like the scene going on around it was very akin to like that scene in Return of the Jedi because I watched that recently, but yeah I just thought it was funny to have that be like his battle cry as this epic scene is going on.
That was great.
I was cracking up.
He really loved his spaceship.
Yeah, and all the little like. Even though some jokes only lasted like a split second, they really made you chuckle.
Yeah.
I'll say it again. Millhouse. That was especially funny to me because I forgot that they make Simpsons Legos now.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, all of the jokes worked, and even if you didn't find one funny, they were happening so fast.
And it wasn't like you're like, none of the jokes made you groan, just some made you laugh more than others.
Yeah. No, it was a very. I can see why it's gotten so high.
Yeah, it was. I think it's a better
well-done
film than anyone could have ever expected the Lego Movie to be.
Yeah, Yeah, I was totally impressed.
Even if you love Legos, you're probably just like, well, it's gonna be okay. Like,
Yeah.
I like Legos.
It'll
I like
probably
this.
be funny.
Yeah,
Most Lego
like-
stuff is funny.
It's one of those things like maybe like a nostalgia trip down memory lane, like Octan. Like right, I'm like, oh, I remember Octan. Like,
Yeah. Oh, people who played with Legos are gonna freaking
Oh,
love
God.
this.
I mean, played with. Some of those people are still playing with Legos, and they don't recognize everything from 80s spaceship guy all the way to the more recent ones. They've probably already bought a few sets from the movie.
I think that's good. I mean, we didn't get many trailers except for the Planes 2 one, which I would prefer to not think about.
Yeah,
after
seriously,
how
like
excellent
a
the
direct to
film was.
DVD movie getting put in the theaters, getting a direct to DVD sequel also put in the theaters. And in this one, for some reason, they're firefighters?
I don't know. It's been a year. You're not supposed to be able to make a sequel for a theatrical release in a year.
Yeah, which leads me to believe they were already making this when they made the first one.
They had to have been.
Well, it's like what, like you see some of these like made for TV animations or made for Netflix ones, and like one will come out and then like 3 weeks later another one's like, okay, so you made these all at one time.
No, if Disney's allowed to release straight to DVD sequels on the big screen, how am I gonna survive?
If they're going to do this, I want some direct-to-DVD Marvel superhero movies released on the big screen. At least then I would be entertained.
No, I do not support this practice. It was bad enough when they were making straight to DVD, because now they can make the straight
Lion
to
King
DVD
2,
sequels,
Simba's Pride, Pinocchio Goes
But-
to War.
But
That
they
might have
can
been
release
Mad
them on the
Magazine.
theater, so they can say, no, they're not straight to DVD sequels, they're just sequels. They stopped that practice. This gives them like a loophole to
Yeah,
do terrible things.
this, it's just another way for them to, one, make more box office money because the kids will demand to go, and then they can still charge $20 for a DVD, even 12 years after its release.
Everything is awesome.
That'll be $37 for this direct-to-DVD Disney DVD. Awesome!